My name is Ted Hill. I'm excited today to have the opportunity to show you some of the new products and new services that we're bringing to market to make your lives easier, to help you run your companies and your customers' facilities more efficiently, to save you time, and to provide you with insights into how your automation systems are performing. It's a key part of what Blake and Frank shared about our vision for a connected enterprise. When the demo team was doing its final prep, Frank shared three things with us. He wanted us to know that this was the largest number of attendees we've ever had at TechED. I think it was his subtle way of telling us this will be the largest audience we've ever had for a live demo. He didn't want us to be nervous. He reminded us that it's important to be entertaining. And then he told us not to blow it. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we met with the marketing team when we decided to do a demo this morning. We said, what do you want us to show? We've come out with dozens of brand new products since TechED last year. We've had hundreds of products releases with new features and functions. What do you want? The marketing team, they said, don't do a demo. Tell a story. People like stories. So we decided to tell a story about my daughter. I hope it's entertaining. I hope we don't blow it. I've worked in industry for a long time. My first on-site project as an engineer included reading a manual for something called an Allen Bradley PLC-3. In fairness, it was a brownfield project. It was an upgrade, but it was a while ago. All of you as automation engineers, you're in a very specialized profession. Your companies rely on your expertise to keep their facilities running, to make them more efficient. When something stops working, all focus shifts to the automation team to get production running again as fast as possible. Downtime is measured in minutes, seconds. The team they're relying on might be just you. Today, I work at our facility in Mayfield Heights, Ohio. That's just outside Cleveland, current sports capital of America. I know there's a big game tonight. Go Cavs. But whatever happens, we still have the Cleveland Browns. I started working with Rockwell Automation at our software development campus in Southern California. I know what you're thinking. Southern California, Cleveland. Sure, I've made some questionable choices. A few weeks ago, one of my coworkers from Cleveland was visiting the office in Southern California. He noticed a picture on the fridge. He asked me about it. It's a picture from my daughter's first birthday. Her name is Sarah. I missed her birthday. Unplanned work commitment. Someone I work with named Michelle, she was there. So she put a picture from Sarah's party on the fridge. Michelle wanted to make sure I felt guilty every time I went into the kitchen for missing the birthday. I was a lousy dad. The picture's still there 13 years later. Sometimes work interferes with life. There was a problem to solve. No one else was available to do it. You missed the birthday, or the baseball game, or the school play. Now, before I get booed like LeBron James at a Golden State rally, the story gets better. I make better decisions. I join Rockwell Automation. I go into product management. It took me a while. I'm a slow learner. I managed to miss both of Sarah's brothers' first birthdays because of work. Now, I know all of you have been there. Moments when work has to come first. Your companies rely on you. I don't get called out in the middle of the night anymore. I sometimes find myself typing emails to Fran at strange times, but I've been there. I know that it's something that many of you deal with now. The first few times you're called out, there's a tremendous feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment. You show up. The plant, it's eerily quiet. The production team's been waiting for you to arrive. They try to give you space, but they want to see what you're doing as you diagnose the problem and figure out what has to be done to get production running again. You succeed, of course. Plant's running again. They don't know what you did. It doesn't really matter. Everyone's just grateful that the plant's running. You're the hero. It's less fun the third time or the fourth. Downtime costs your company money. Lost production. Missed customer commitments. It has visibility to senior management, which might not help you get the problem solved. You might spend half the night at the plant, but you're still expected to be there for your day job. How many of you here at TechED can relate to this? Or how many of you work with someone that does this pretty routinely? After I was asked about that picture on the fridge, I was thinking about our new products and services that help make failures a thing of the past, or at least minimize their impact when they happen, that can help you keep your facilities running. So we decided to call our demo this morning the Fridge Demo. Over the last few years, we've been working on new products and services that are easy to use, easy to deploy, improve productivity, help you diagnose your automation system. We want you to get your time back. We believe that through connecting your enterprise and using modern plant floor tools, teams and plants can be more productive. They can solve problems quicker. They can collaborate. They can work together to solve problems and diagnose issues, and ideally avoid them in the first place. I may have been an automation engineer in the past, but I was sure our demo would go a lot better this morning if I recruited a few colleagues to help. Kyle Reisner, Mike Panalino, Doug Coulter, Chris Como, and Angela Rapko. They'll all be giving me a hand. We've brought some equipment with us this morning that we're going to use as part of the demo. On stage left, that's your right, we have an automated skid. It's a skid for the craft brewing market, a critical industry. It's used to make beer. Thanks to Newland Systems from Abbotsford, British Columbia, up in Canada, for loaning it to us this week. Their systems are used globally, and I've personally challenged myself to learn more about each and every one of their customers. On my own team, I've noticed an interesting correlation between customer site visits, customer priorities, customer betas, customer meetings, and our customers that make beer. On stage right, that's your left, we're depicting a centralized control room. I know what you're thinking. In the real world, it would be up 4 or 5 flights of stairs. Come on, this is Orlando, Disney World. It's just down the street. Everything's going to be perfect this morning. Now, on our centralized HMI, I can see that there's an alarm. Now, the alarm says that there's an overflow and that beer spilling, bring cups. So I think the maintenance guys have been messing with the alarm descriptions. So our situation in the plant is we're brewing a new style of beer. The process might need tweaking. A piece of equipment might have failed. My colleagues and I are going to work as a connected team to solve this issue so that none of us have to work the weekend or maybe miss a kid's birthday. I'm going to start by using Factory Talk Team 1, our mobile collaboration tool, to see if Kyle can help with this problem. I'm going to send him a message. So my smartphone's over here. I'm going to go to the home screen, and I've got Factory Talk Team 1 installed. I'm going to open it up. These modules that are on the first screen, these are part of the base product. We released this last year around the time of Automation Fair. This is free to use. You can download the application from Apple or Google. I'm going to swipe over to the second screen and open up a new module that we call the Alarm module. This is part of the standard edition of Team 1. This came out last quarter. What this module allows you to do is access all of the data that's in the Factory Talk Alarms and Events database and start using that as a data source as you work with your team. So what I can do is send a notification to Kyle about this problem on the centralized HMI. So I'm going to send that. So what that does is it sends a notification to everybody that's part of my team. So everybody that I'm working with in the plant is going to get a notification on the smart device that they're using that there's a problem we need to solve and work on together. Kyle's supposed to be on the plant floor. I hope he's there. Kyle, good luck troubleshooting that problem.
Thanks, Ted. And I got Ted's notification on my fancy smartwatch here, and I'll get to investigating that alarm in just a second. First, I wanted to explain a little bit about Team 1. Our goal with Team One is to instantly enable contextual collaboration like this between plant floor maintenance teams that happen to be on the plant floor or in the control room. And we want to do that in the most frictionless way possible. Team One as an app uses the power of the device. In this case, we have Wi-Fi only smartphones that are securely added to the connected enterprise setup in our plant. And we've simplified the software requirements for Team One by innovating and driving in a server into the app itself, making it a smart node so that you don't have to put additional infrastructure in your ecosystem to get initial value from Team One. In addition, Team One has a local database which caches information that allows you to get value in areas of your plant that don't have Wi-Fi. As an app, it really traverses the IT and OT networks, connects all the data elements into a single app: alarm information, people information, information from devices, and analytics. What this really enables is what we call collaboration in context, and it's specifically designed for plant floor environments. In addition, as Ted said, we're distributing over the regular app stores, Google Play and Android, or and Apple App Store, and we even have a free forever edition that you can get started right away, get more productive, and when you're ready, integrate up to the standard edition subscription like Ted and I have that introduces alarms. Now I'll finally get to this issue that Ted posted. So I'm just going to grab my phone here. So you see here, Ted has messaged me and posted on the team board the alarm information. So I'm going to go and just check out the alarm. And I see the details of the alarm, the same thing that's on the HMI. The beer's overflowing. I definitely have my cups in the back. So what I want to do inside of Team One is investigate this a little further to see if it is something that's related to the process a little deeper. So I'm going to easily go over to my trend module, and here I've got some trends that are pre-saved, but I'm just going to create a new one. I was looking at the machine and saying, I think the outfeed pump on the agitator is the problem. So select the power flex that is controlling that outfeed pump. And I'm going to just scroll down to the RPM of that pump and do a live trend. What this app is doing is directly over the local Wi-Fi doing a trend, and I see it sort of out of whack. So the next step I'm going to do is just save that trend, and I'm going to document the problem in what we call the incident module. This incident module is a quick and easy way to say, this bruised skid is the problem. It's about the agitator, power flex, 525, RPM is odd. So I save that, and also I'm going to add a quick picture of the agitator. And that's going to save it for my team. Now that I've documented this alarm, which we think is causing to spill that precious beer that we have, I really need more information about the device and the health of the system to troubleshoot it a little bit more. And for that, I need something more intelligent, something super intelligent, really that analyzes the system automatically by doing health and diagnostics on my specific device, in this case, this PowerFlex, and really suggest to me how to fix this problem, which inevitably will fix my overflowed, my outfeed pump not working. And guess what? We've got a new product for device level analytics that's just been released that does just that. So inside of Team One, what I'm going to do is go direct chat another maintenance team member, Mike Pentalino. I'm going to provide him a little context from the incident that I just created and ask him to help. Hey, Mike, are you around? Can you help me?
Hey, thanks, Kyle. I just got the notification, and thanks for picking up my phone. Hey, to help out Kyle, because he needs a little bit more direction here, sometimes more than others, but we're going to actually use a brand new product, this new appliance that we have that's called FactoryTalk Analytics for Devices. Frank had mentioned it earlier, and so what this appliance does is allow us to provide instant value to our customers by being able to hook it up to existing control systems or new systems and finding out how healthy our devices are. So it's so easy to get going, it's going to blow your mind at the ease of use and configuration. So One of the things that I'm going to do is actually going to install it actually in this cabinet. Now, you know, if I was actually at the plant, I would probably use better safety precautions, but for the sake of the demo, I'm going to get this going pretty quickly. So, all I need to do is, to get it into this cabinet and get going, I'm going to install it. I'm going to actually hook it up and get network and power. And it's immediately going to start to boot up and start figuring stuff out. So, you know, before, it's very seldom the case that we would actually demo installing something, configuring devices. But you know, it's so easy, and we're so proud of our out-of-box experience that we're actually going to show you how it's configured. So I'm going to come over to my machine, my computer here, and I've got a browser that just happens to be pointed at that device, and I'm going to show you what it takes to actually configure it. So I'll go through these 5 easy steps, first of which is language I speak. Then I'm going to go through, I'm going to give it a name on the network. I'm going to accept the defaults for the time and date. I actually say that I won't be connected to the internet. I'll actually assign a manual address, because otherwise the rest of the demo will go horribly wrong. I'll also put in a password. No peeking. I'll also accept and look at my end user license agreement. I've studied this by all week, so you have to read it, but I know it by heart. And so then I'm going to actually finish. And now that the system is actually going to reboot. Now, what's actually happening is that while it reboots, it's going to come back up, and it's going to discover all the devices that are actually in that cabinet over there. So, this appliance, when it first releases, is going to have basic information for any Ethernet IP device that's out there. And it'll have detailed analytics for over 2,000 automation devices. So it'll constantly monitor the system that's there and provide me information if our devices are healthy or not. And so it'll help guide the maintenance and engineering teams if there's actually any issues. So, as I come back to the system, now that we're rebooted and taking a look at things, I can see all kinds of different things about my devices. So all those devices in that cabinet were discovered. And I can switch over to my action deck. The action deck is where we have our go do this now information. So you can see here that there's a couple issues, one of which is for that pesky drive that Kyle was, that was leading to our overflow that Kyle was looking at. I can also go see a detailed dashboard about that drive. And so now that we can take a look at it, I can do deeper analysis as to what's actually going on. And this helps us actually debug the problem. So if we fix this problem with the drive, we think it'll actually fix our overflow problem. And you know what? We've built in some real cool abilities to interact with the product that I want to show you here on my phone. So let's take a look here. And what I'm going to do is show you a couple different things that we can do here. We'll actually show you a preview, some things that are going to be available in Factory Talk Team 1 Standard Edition. So you can see my action cards, just like you could see on my PC before, are here. And we've got some really neat features. So we're going to actually learn and personalize these action cards to you. So you can do this from your desktop or your phone. But if something, a device is important to me, I can swipe right and say that that's important. Or I can swipe left and say something is not important to me. If I swipe left enough, it'll stop sending me action cards for that particular device, or stop asking me for dates. There's a couple other things that we've added to the product itself. We actually have a built-in chatbot that Frank had talked about earlier. We call the chatbot Shelby. And it might sound like the name of your dog, and it does fetch information. It's really your intelligent assistant. And you can do all kinds of neat things with it and ask it all kinds of questions. So we can ask things like, how many devices need maintenance? Thank you, autocorrect. And you can see that it comes back and tells me how many are there. We can ask more complex questions like, what is the status of my operation? I know this watching people type is just awesomely exciting. So we can ask it all kinds of interesting questions, and it can come up with different answers. And you know, there's another question that we can actually ask it too, which is how many controllers are faulted? But that's really a trick question because the answer to that is always none. But the other thing that's important about this chatbot is it's built on the Microsoft Bot framework. And it actually is part of their cognitive services. And it actually is going to get smarter over time at what questions it can answer. And all this from an appliance that does not require the internet to be connected and can be added to any existing control system and up and running in minutes, just like you've seen here. And now that the appliance is up and running, it's going to continue to provide value for any runtime issues that occur, and it'll get continuous updates that we're going to push out and make available to you on a consistent basis, where we're going to add access to more devices, third-party devices, more features, and more detailed analysis. And now that we've figured out what we think is the problem with this drive, I'm going to turn it back to Ted.
Thanks, Mike. You'll have an opportunity this week during TechED to learn more about FactoryTalk Analytics for devices. As you just saw on the action card, saying the amperage set point's been exceeded. Maybe the mash is too thick. Maybe we're brewing Canadian beer. Could be a problem with the drive, or maybe the threshold's incorrectly set for that new recipe. I'm going to go back over to the control room and find our process engineer. You know, I know Mike and Kyle. If I needed a Giphy of a dancing kitten, they're my guys. This is a controls issue. I need Doug. Doug, come on up. What's interesting about this control room that you're seeing up on the big screen is all of the content's delivered by a product called Thin Manager. It's a new addition to our portfolio. I'm going to let Doug explain how Thin Manager can help Mike and Kyle troubleshoot that problem on the plant floor. Welcome to Rockwell. Thanks for stepping up and giving me a hand.
Thanks, Ted. So now with Thin Manager in our brewery, we can do this easily and in context. So Thin Manager is a content delivery and device management platform and a key component to managing and visualizing content in a connected enterprise. So with Thin Manager, I can centrally assign and deliver pretty much any content to a device, user, or location. And one of the primary value propositions of Thin Manager is reducing the total cost of ownership for computing devices that are used on the plant floor. So this terminal that we're going to be looking at has a display, a keyboard, a mouse, and a super simple piece of hardware that is our Thin client. In fact, this Thin client doesn't even have an operating system. So out of the box, it's kind of useless on its own. But when it's connected on a network with Thin Manager present, it's going to receive the Thin Manager firmware right at boot time, as well as its terminal profile, which defines its default content, among other things. Basically, what you want to see and how you want to see it. And all of this is managed centrally in Thin Manager. No configuration is required at the device itself. So what we're going to see here, and what we saw here earlier ago, is the default content that has been assigned to this particular Thin client. And this is a custom content layout that we call a virtual screen. Gives us the ability to bring together a number of disparate content sources and visualize them in a very unique way. So in the main area there, we've got our remote view of the brew skid. That's something we call a shadow. We have an instance of analytics. We also have a Studio 5000 instance, as well as an IP camera feed of the brew skid itself.
Doug, with all of that content coming from a single device, what happens if something goes wrong? What happens if it fails?
Yeah. Well, Ted, that's the beauty of Thin Manager. So the user-based content would follow me wherever I go. So if I log in at another terminal managed by Thin Manager, like another Thin client, a mobile device, or even a PC, I'm just going to pick up right where I left off. The device is just a window into the content, and the content is coming from somewhere else, like your industrial data center, for example. No intellectual property is actually stored on the user's end device. In fact, that VersaView industrial PC over there that we saw a moment ago is a terminal being managed by Thin Manager, which is why we're able to shadow it here from our control room.
Doug, things go wrong in the real world, as we've seen. A tow motor might take something out. It's going to happen in the middle of the night when nobody's there. Thin Manager can really help keep the plant running?
I've seen it 100 times, absolutely.
I don't know if I've shared this with you, Doug. I used to do a lot of software demos, and you've got to be able to back up what you say, you know, in case I call you on it. You're telling me if this device was to accidentally get destroyed, we're going to be okay?
Yep, definitely.
Well, one of the reasons I'm here is to call you out. So I'm going to pretend that we've had a tragic accident in our plant, and this device is going to lose power. It's going to go offline. And then it's going to have a tragic incident on the plant floor. Unlike Mike, I pay attention to our safety briefings. You know, I think we're going to need Grandpa's hammer for this.
Awesome.
Doug, let's see you get that control room back online.
Wow, it did do some damage there. Well, that's really no problem, Ted. I do have a second thin client here that I've already connected. I'm going to go ahead and power it on. Sorry about that first birthday thing, too, by the way.
The counseling's helping.
Yeah, no anger management issues there whatsoever.
So what's happening when you replace that device?
So what we're going to first see is a progress bar shoot across the screen. And that'll be the Thin Manager firmware getting delivered to that terminal. So we identify these terminals by MAC address, right? So in Thin Manager, since this is a new terminal, there won't be a matching terminal profile for it already assigned. So what's going to happen is we're going to be presented with a list of available profiles that aren't already being used. And one of which is going to be that profile for the terminal that Ted just sort of inadvertently smashed.
Accidentally.
Accidentally, sorry. So what I did there was assigned the terminal profile for the terminal that was smashed. And really what's happening now is this device is assuming the identity for that other device. And we're going to pick up right where we left off. So really getting your weekends, even your weeknights back there.
So I can just have some spare thin clients in the parts crib, something accidentally goes wrong, can be back up and running.
That's right. Anybody can be trained to replace a Thin Manager client, and we want to make it easy to replace when something does go wrong. So as I mentioned, the new terminal receives the same firmware, it received the same profile, and now we're going to pick up right where we left off.
So I've been thinking about other things I could do to mess with you. There are other types of redundancy backup?
Yeah, there really are. There's a lot of options. So I definitely encourage you to come to one of the Thin Manager tech sessions this week, maybe a lab, get some hands-on with the product.
Now, I notice up here we have a device that looks a little more rugged. I'm not sure Grandpa's hammer would have covered it.
Yeah, this might withstand that sledgehammer test, but this is the new Thin Manager Ready VersaView 5200 box thin client. So this has no moving parts, 24-volt DC power. We have dual HD displays and dual Ethernet ports that we can automatically fail between. So back to the task at hand, changing the drive set point so it doesn't keep faulting out and causing that overflow alarm. So Thin Manager has a lot of really advanced features like location-based content delivery. So while I could walk across the stage over there, I'm going to go ahead and ask our product manager of Studio 5000 to give us a hand. Hey, Chris, can you help us out?
Thanks, Doug. Great to be here, and sure I can help. And I think everybody would like to see this beer machine back up and running. Now, as Doug mentioned, another great feature of Thin Manager is the ability to deliver location-based content, which we call relevance. As you see here, we have two QR codes on the cabinet here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan this ID right here, and that brings up a relevance error. So what that error is that's telling me that I'm not properly logged into this particular QR code's access point. So what I'm going to do is accept that error. I'm going to go ahead and log in, HRIS. And just 1 second, please. I believe in password security. And we're going to go ahead and scan that UR code again. Now, what this is going to do is it automatically opens Studio 5000 Logix Designer and delivers this particular process's application ACD file. And what we're going to do, in a productive manner, every bit of this was delivered to me. So now I'm going to use Logix Designer to change this incorrectly set point for the drive. So I'm going to open this up here, bring my keyboard. Now, to clear the alarm, I'm going to do something a little different. The first thing I need to do is I need to leave this location here. So now, to clear this, I'm going to interact with this Thin Manager managed client in a very, very unique way. So I'm going to scan the second QR code. And what you're going to see here is that the information that's on the panel, the ViewSE application, is now transferred from the VersaView to my mobile device. Now what I'm going to do now, and in this way, what I can do is interact with this on my tablet without local interaction at the HMI. So I make sure that no one is making those changes there. So what I'm going to do is pull the faceplate up for this particular motor. I'm going to clear that alarm. Close this down. And now I'm going to leave this particular location here, send it back to the VersaView, and then we can verify that the alarm has actually cleared. Now, once I'm done with that, I transferred that back to this content. And by using these tools, I think that the team has just saved the weekend for us. And if Ted had had these tools back in the day, that first birthday picture that he showed here a little bit ago with his daughter, he may have actually been in that picture. Ted, back to you. I think we're good to go here.
Thanks, Chris. Not so fast. We don't have an application in our portfolio that more of you use than Logix Designer. Chris, I think the people here at TechED would like to hear about some of the new features that are coming up in the next release. Come on over.
On my way, Ted.
Well, Chris is on his way. Let me tell you a bit about a project that we called, internally we called CodeFlow. We've been modernizing the look and the feel of the editors in Studio 5000. We wanted to make them more intuitive, improve your productivity, make them consistent. We've been working on this for a while, and the customers that have been meeting with us in Mayfield have really given us positive feedback on this work. You know, at events like TechED and Automation Fair, we have a team that does user experience studies. We validate new product designs, we review workflows with you. I know many of you have helped us in the past. I know some of you offered to help us this week, so thank you very much for fitting that into your schedules. What Chris is going to show you from Project CodeFlow will be part of the next release of Studio 5000. It's going to come out later this year around Automation Fair. Chris, what are the top 3 or 4 things you'd like to tell everybody here about Project CodeFlow?
Well, Ted, I'd like to start with discussing the overall goals of Project CodeFlow first. First, we set out to refresh the UI of Studio 5000 Logix Designer with the goal of helping you as control engineers, coders, and maintainers to expand your productivity in your day-to-day activities. Now, let's open up that Studio 5000 Logix Designer and take a walk through this new UI. Now, first, you can clearly see the colors and the iconography have been updated, but there's much more than just colors and icons with this. We studied the user experience and level set a lot of the functionality between the editors, and not only that, one of the editors has had a full overhaul. Let's take a walk through that particular editor. As you can see here, the structured text editor is vastly different. You see things like collapsible code segments, user-definable regions, which help provide somewhat of a visual structured layout of your code. Now, this makes it easy to locate relevant areas of the code that you're currently interested in. Now, Ted, you really dated yourself a bit with that PLC3 reference. So that tells me it's probably been a little while for you to pound those keys and write some code, you know, real work.
Fair enough.
So you may not even know how to use some of the very basic constructs in structured text. Things like if-then-else statements, case statements, for-next loops.
Let me see if I understand. So something like, if Chris keeps cracking old PLC jokes, then I might not invite him back?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's backspace, backspace, backspace. Comment that code out, okay, and move on. And you left off the end if semicolon. So we added functionality that allows the user to call up code snippets, which always presents you the correct syntax with appropriate placeholders for you to fill in. So let us show you this. Let's create a simple if-then-else statement. I will start by typing if and then simply press the tab key. This presents us with the necessary syntax and a placeholder shown here highlighted. You then simply fill in your placeholders and you're ready to continue. You no longer have to reference the manual or the online help to figure out the exact syntax you're looking for. All the constructs in Logix Designer now have this support.
I hope the ladder editor's in there somewhere still.
So the ladder editor is still there. We did not take that out. It's still there for you, Ted. Now next, we're going to look how the changes were tracked within your current editing session, which will allow you to very quickly determine what has changed, what has been verified, and where those things have been modified in that routine. The yellow highlights indicate things you've changed in that editing session, while the green, the verified changes since that editing session. This allows you to come to the points of edits very, very quickly. Now, Ted, I bet when you were doing your PLC3 startups, you probably always wanted to see the values at the same time you were debugging your code, right?
That would have been nice, but what I wish is somebody would have told me that the entire plant would stop if I accidentally divided by 0.
I guarantee someone else in the audience has had that problem too. So, well, Ted, it looks like your career definitely survived those times, okay? And as you can see here, with a click of a button or by default, you can now view your values within the code environment in a non-destructive manner while keeping your code intact. This helps maintain the code readability and will increase your productivity during those times of troubleshooting, much like we've had here today. Ted, this next one is something that's been near and dear to my heart for some time, those long days of commissioning systems back in the days. Many of us have multiple monitors at our workstation now. Now, while in the control room, we used to always have to switch between or control tab through screens to be able to find the section of code we were looking for. So what we need to do now is we can bring those forward, and we now allow you to pull content out of frame and create tab groups that allow you to organize the screens in a manner that you want. It's a rather simple feature, but I really wanted to call that out for us here today. So I could go on and on, but Ted's not going to let me do that, and I got to save something for my sessions this week. And also, I just received a notification on my Team One app that I need to be somewhere else. So thank you very much. Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Chris. We'll be using a pre-release of V31, that's the next version of Studio 5000, in several of the Logix labs. So you'll all have an opportunity to work with what Chris showed yourselves. I can't promise that work won't sometimes impact your personal life, or that you won't still occasionally get called out in the middle of the night, or that you won't miss some of your kids' events. What I hope you've taken away from this morning, though, is how our new products and services help you create your connected enterprise so that your plants run more efficiently, so that you can react faster when issues occur, saving you from working late or missing those weekends. That's right. One more thing. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Ted. Do you have a moment to talk?
Sure. Nothing going on here. How are you?
I'm great. How's your daughter?
Angela's seen the fridge. Sarah's fine. She turns 15 this year, so work has become the least of my issues.
I bet. I'm calling you today in regards to your managed support contract. That includes application support and remote monitoring, managed anomaly detection, and predictive analytics. We've noticed a lot of abnormal activity on your network today, and if you can, please confirm that it was your team that was troubleshooting the drive on your brew skid and that you just updated a recipe parameter to clear an alarm.
Yep, that's the issue we just worked to resolve.
Okay, great. As you're aware, we're monitoring your applications 24/7 in order to detect and resolve issues before they result in downtime. With our new managed anomaly detection service, we are also now passively monitoring your network to keep you safe from internal and external threats. So if we notice activity on your network that we believe is a cybersecurity threat, we'll proactively address the issue or reach out to you, like I just did, to make sure the activity detected was valid.
That's great, Angela. We appreciate the support your team provides. Can you please make sure they're aware of the change that we made, just in case something happens on the second and third shift when we're not here?
Of course. And just so you're aware, you do have a 10-minute SLA with us, so you can absolutely count on us being here. While I have you on the phone, I also wanted to let you know that our team has identified a downtime risk with your plant in Wichita. We see similar patterns in your data that correlate to a previous downtime event, which may result in a drive failure within the next 2 weeks. I'm going to go ahead and send you a detailed report with the steps that you need to resolve the issue, and based upon your preference, we'd also be happy to send a team out to that plant this weekend so no one else has to miss a birthday.
Thanks, Angela.
Thanks, Ted. It was great talking to you.
What we've demonstrated to you this morning is the result of the innovation that we've done with you. The future's a journey. It includes Rockwell Automation, our partners, and our customers. It boils down to how automation and information technology drive the results that you need to help your companies, to save your weekends, maybe get to your kid's birthday. Thank you for attending TechED and giving us the opportunity to share with you the products and the services that we're developing. I hope you were entertained, and I hope we didn't blow it. Thanks. Have a great week.